Okay, welcome everybody. Today, I'm Lady Baldwin. I'm Melissa's executive assistant, and today we have a special guest with us, Joe Ames. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're a former VP sales, corporate
Yes.
dropout now, like Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And this guy is also a two times CrossFit champion. So he can tell you everything about products and business. He is your guy. So I'm so excited and I'm going to just go ahead and let you start.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's become my claim to fame, the CrossFit Games champion. Forget about the fact that I had a pretty good corporate career too, right? It's all I can lift weights and run around faster than everybody else. But it's what kind of brings us here today. It's what got me into this line of work was the CrossFit experience and using these products and seeing everything they could do for me while I was competing, and then turn it into a second career has just been amazing. So thank you all for joining. I know this is a vacation week; it's a tough one, but we're gonna speak with kind of a performance slant to it because I can, right? Because I'm kind of like the resident expert on that stuff, and I have with me tonight who's going to help me with this deck is Laura Thompson. She's my business partner with Isagenix. She in her own right is an unbelievable athlete and a tremendous corporate success. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys and we'll get going. Just give me a second to kind of make sure everyone can see what I'm seeing. Laura, am I good here?
Yep, that's great.
All right, cool. So listen, I use this slide in a lot of the presentations that I do because it was thinking differently that got me here. And if you're on this call tonight and you're not already with Isagenix, it's probably because you're thinking differently too about what your future holds for you. Just a little bit about myself besides the CrossFit Games thing. I was in corporate America for my entire career. I was vice president of sales for a national brand in the U.S. I brought that company from about $22 million to about $220 million. And we sold, we were a brand of clothing, and we sold to retail stores around the country. And probably around, maybe around the year 2014. So right around the time I was kind of just getting into the CrossFit thing, but I was looking at like these storm clouds coming in my career. Stores were starting to go away, right? Like Sports Authority was this account that we did $5 million a year with, and they suddenly go out of business. And I'm looking at it, I'm thinking everything seems to be shifting online. And if you don't have kind of an online play, what's your future? And I just kind of saw where my life was headed. Although the company had grown considerably, I was wondering what it was going to look like 5 years down the road. And truthfully, I was tired of traveling. In that role as a vice president, you travel quite a bit. It's every week you're on a plane. Your schedule is not your own. You're working for somebody else. You're exchanging time for money. And although I got paid very well, I had done it for a long time. And I'm like in my head saying, what's next? So I started thinking differently, and I got involved with Isagenix. I saw the opportunity. And that's what Laura and I are going to try and share with you tonight, is that there is something else out there. I'm not saying that it has to replace the job that you have today, but let's face it. I mean, I'm not the only guy whose friends have been impacted by this COVID in a negative way. I'm not the only guy or person on this call that has seen friends of theirs who might have been vice presidents or senior managers be let go after they were furloughed because their company downsized. So, I see it in my friend base. I know people are thinking about it. I know that's why you're on the call tonight, to see if this opportunity might be for you. And that's what this is, just about taking a look. We do a call like this on Tuesday nights for business at 8:30. And then on Wednesday nights, we do a product. So tomorrow I'll do a product call with an athlete kind of performance spin to it. So tune into that too. But between those two calls, it's an opportunity for you to invite other people to take a look at what it is that we do, and this is how we grow our teams. So listen, we're a health and wellness company. We do about $1 billion a year in sales. last year, but we're on a pace to double this year, believe it or not. And you know, our vision is to impact world health and free people from physical and financial pain, and in the process create the most trusted and respected health and wellness company in the world. We are simply a direct-to-consumer health and wellness company. And like I said, the world that I came from, it was all about going direct to consumer. There was an article yesterday in yesterday's paper that Nike, who had goals of making 30% of their revenue was going to come from Nike.com. They've totally reformulated that since the COVID crisis has started. And now their goal is set on 50% of their sales. 50% of a $40 billion company, they expect to come through Nike.com. You know, anyone who's on this call who has been stuck in their homes has seen the Amazon driver, the UPS driver, the FedEx driver, more than they ever thought that they'd see these guys coming down their driveway. And we're not going backwards, guys. And you know, I have a friend of mine who used to be a senior executive, or he still is a senior executive at a big wholesale club. And he said to me about 3 or 4 years ago, he said, Joe, when Amazon figures out a way to deliver bananas to your front door, it's over. And guess what? Bananas are showing up at your front door. So we have become a .com world, and that's all we do, guys. Like here's what I'm telling you. GNC is probably the largest company out there that sells supplements. They have 4,000 stores, and last week they declared bankruptcy, and they're going to shut at least 1,200 doors. They will probably have to come up with some amazing .com model. We are already that model. We are already delivering the best product in the world right to people's front doors. And I play a role in that, and Laura plays a role in it, and everybody on this call can play a role in that. So without further ado, I do want to introduce Laura Thompson, again, my business partner with Isagenix. She's a former vice president in a Fortune 100 company. She's wicked smart, as we would say in Boston. She went to Boston College, got her MBA from Boston. She was a 4-year starter on the softball team for Boston College, and she's currently the number 37th ranked woman in the world in CrossFit in her age group. She's an absolute superstar. But Laura, I love it when you tell your story of why you decided to take a look at this business. Can you just share that with everybody?
Sure. Yeah, so let me just give you a little bit more about my background. Thanks, Joe. So probably most importantly in my life, I'm a mom to 3 kids. They are 10, 8, and almost 6 next week. And so you can imagine that's a huge part of my life. But really, until Isagenix about 3 years ago, my entire career was spent in corporate America, as Joe alluded to. And for a really long time, that was my identity, right? I can remember since the day I graduated, I wanted to be an executive in corporate America. And for those of you who live that life, you know that takes a tremendous amount of sacrifice. And so really that was where my time was spent, from early mornings till late nights, pursuing what I thought was my ultimate dream in life. And I achieved it. And I remember being really excited about that. But at that time, during that process, I had my kids, right? And after my first kid, things were okay. And then my second kid, and then after my third child, I remember feeling like I should feel like I had it all, because this had been my goal in life, but feeling like I was giving up too much. I had tremendous financial success, but that is really different than financial freedom. And I remember having that feeling of feeling really trapped, because I had come to rely on an income that was really strong. And I didn't know how I would ever kind of shift anything like that in my life. So I was a little resentful that I wasn't getting that time with my kids and with my family. And when I was rushing back to the office. Well, as fate would have it, I guess, at this point, I would say fate. My position, I literally walked into the office after 16 and a half years with the same company and found out my position was being eliminated. We had been acquired by a really big company, Dell, out in Texas, and they were moving my position. Guys, I walked out of the door 30 minutes later and never walked back into a place I gave my whole life to. And I remember at that moment, ironically, I was never really sad, but I was completely shocked. And at that moment, I made two promises to myself. And one was that whatever I did next in life, I was going to love it. And two was that never again would someone control the destiny of me and my career financially. And so that's really like where I started. I had no idea what I was going to do. A huge part of my life is health and wellness. As Joe said, CrossFit's a really big part of my life. And as you can imagine, I was weaving these things into little pockets of time. I was training at 4:30 in the morning. And so I felt like this was a time to maybe merge all parts of me into one. But everything I thought about in the world of health and wellness and fitness was one of two things. Either it wasn't going to support me financially that I need the way I wanted it to. Or two, I was going to be trading the same amount of time for money, but just a lot less of it. Right. So for those of you who live in the world of fitness, I mean, they're not just hanging out in the gym, they're working all day. And so I didn't know what I was going to do, but I gave Joe a call, just really at that point as just a fellow CrossFitter and friend and business professional, to say, what do you think? Like, where should I start to look at? And he was the one that suggested Isagenix. And you know, since then, and I'll share a little bit more as we go on, but I've been with the company now almost 3 years, and this company's completely changed my life. I spent my career in HR, so I was able to help people achieve success in their career and life. And now I get to do it in a way that just impacts who they are and how they live their life every single day. And, you know, I look at some of the people that I get to work with every day. It's like, I have one girl on my team who, she's a physical therapist. She used to be a marketing executive, but she wanted to do what she loved in life. But guess what? She took a huge pay cut to do that, right? I have someone else that's a anesthesiologist nurse. She spends her life in the operating room. She doesn't spend it with her kids because she's got to be there working, right? This is an opportunity for her to create more balance in her life. I have another girl on my team who's an attorney. She's very successful, but she's trading every bit of free time for that. And so you can imagine, right? Another one who's a teacher, the most underpaid profession there is, and a tremendous athlete. And this is an opportunity for her to actually be paid what she's worth in life. So I share with you this because I think as I look back on this whole thing, like, yes, I've had the financial success, but what I've had even more is being surrounded by like amazing people and the opportunity to really impact their life. So, you know, today we want to show you that journey and kind of what it can look like. And I'm going to start by sharing with you a little bit about our products and why I decided about Isagenix. I remember when I sat down with Susan, I asked a ton of questions about the business. And predominantly today, that's what we're going to talk about. But I want you to understand that just because we're not focused on the products as much today, there wouldn't be an opportunity if they weren't amazing, right? And so I just want to touch on them because some of you may not be familiar at all. So let's just create kind of a base of knowledge. So Isagenix plays in a few key markets. One of them is around weight loss and healthy living. Another is around, you know, performance, athletic performance, so building lean muscle, just general vitality and well-being as we're aging. And then, of course, financial wellness, which we'll be talking about today. One of the things that was really important to me, especially as an athlete, was to be able to stand behind this company 100% and know that anything I was representing had really strong quality. And you can see here, you know, all of the credentials were gluten-free. We have really high quality. But in the 3 years I've been here, what I've seen most is that time after time after time, this company is maniacal about what we put in the products, how we test the products, and they'll stand behind anything. And I think, you know, that was a really big decision criteria for me up front. So I just wanted to comment on that. Performance supplements, my favorite. Isagenix has an incredible line of supplements. You know, Joe and I like to say this is called the Amped line. It's almost a boutique line powered by Isagenix, a major big company. So if you know a lot about supplements in this market, they come and they go because the margins are so small. It's very unique to be able to put the quality we do into our performance supplements, and it's because we have the backing of such a large engine behind it. So here's kind of a quick view of them. We have the tri-release protein, which is amazing, the hydrate, repair, which helps you after your workouts. We have a pre-workout, and then branched chain amino acids. So all really strong products. Joe's going to talk about these a little bit more tomorrow night in detail, but just to give you a glimpse of what they are. They're also all informed sport, which is really important to athletes. This again is a view of what's possible. So a lot of times people think of Isagenix, they think of shakes, and it's a key cornerstone product of the company, no doubt, but look at what else is available, right? There's sleep support, organic greens, a huge energy market. We have obviously our shakes, tons of snacks. And what this allows you to do when you're reaching into the pockets of consumers is you're helping reach into the entire family. Like my kids live off of these snacks, right? And it's a better choice than, quite frankly, whatever else they may choose. And then just to extend the line a little bit further, joint and pain relief, detoxification or intermittent fasting as it's referred to today by many people. We have vitamins, gut health is huge, right? Probiotics. So again, this isn't even our full line, but it gives you a sense of the different markets we play in the wide variety of products we can offer to consumers.
Yeah, Laura, that was amazing. Like that's the thing that strikes home to me, guys, is you know, we are not just about shakes, right? We're this gigantic conglomerate, this health and wellness company that has nothing but goodness attached to it. And they're leaving it up to us through word of mouth marketing to spread the word. And the bigger we grow our teams, the more money we make. We make a small percentage off the efforts of a lot of people. That's it. When you hear about a great restaurant, you share that with your friends. When you read a good book, you share that with your friends. All we're doing here is sharing with people how we get our nutrition, what we use for our joint support, what we use for our CBD oil. And we introduce that to other people and we say, hey, listen, you don't even have to pay for that. Let me show you how to get it for free. So, you know, some people join our company just to be customers. Matter of fact, 80% of the people that use Isagenix products are simply customers because they like what we do. 20% decide to try to make an income out of it. And your goal might be just to get your products paid for, or your goal might be to pay some bills around the house, or it might be to hit a financial home run. Whatever the reason is, Isagenix can help you achieve those goals. So just a nice testimonial here from Keith Deo. He's a co-owner of a company called Edge Performance Training. And I like what he says here. He says, as a gym owner, right, working with Isagenix has allowed him to help his members achieve these unbelievable results. But it's also, he's created this additional residual revenue stream that he never knew existed. And Keith, if he was on this line, he'd tell you he's probably making as much through Isagenix as he does through his business. And he has a solid business. So, you know, that's a clue for those of you on the call today who are a coach or own a gym or know people that are owners of gyms or Pilates studios or yoga studios. There's an absolute opportunity to create another residual income stream using Isagenix. So listen, this is what got me going, right? I saw the storm clouds coming, as I said. I knew I was passionate about health and wellness. Laura and I are very similar in that respect. Like, she was forced out. I wasn't. I wanted to do something in the health and wellness space, but I said, how can I do this and actually make some money? And along came Isagenix. I was using them for my training. I won my first CrossFit Games, and I said to myself selfishly, how do I monetize this, right? I love this. And I was introduced to a $500 billion industry. That's what the health and wellness market is. And I said, man, I could build my own business globally in 26 countries, be my own boss, have incredible flexibility, not having to fly around because someone wants me to fly around, but fly around because I want to fly around. Like, to me, that made all the sense in the world, right? How can I go skiing up at Stowe midweek in February when I'm working for the man, collecting, you know, working and making good money, but exchanging time for money? You can't do that unless you're on your own gig. So this gave me some great flexibility, and the timing 5 years ago was unbelievable. But today, gosh, like, there's no better time to build a business like this than right now. Like down markets, like 2001, the world was ending, right? 2008, we thought we were going bankrupt as a country. Here we are again in 2020 with a pandemic. History is going to repeat itself. And it's just a question of how do you want to prepare yourself for the future, right? Do you want to have extra money? Do you want to have extra money to help pay for your kids' college education? Do you want to be living on Social Security payments, or do you want to have a nice little cushion? Like, it's all up to you. And this is a vehicle that allows you to get there. So I love this quote. I'm working full-time in my job, part-time in my fortune. Jim Rohn was an absolute legend in this business of network marketing, of direct sales. And he used to tell everybody, that's what he did. So I'm working full-time in my job, because that's what it is. It's exchanging time for money. He worked full-time at his job, but in his part-time. And that's what most people do. 98% of the people do this part-time. They're working on their fortune. Creating that extra income flow so you can buy a rental property, creating that income flow so that you can afford to take your family on nice vacations. You fill in whatever your blank is, but I love this quote because that's what network marketing really is about. It's not about creating another job for yourself where you're exchanging time for money. You're creating a residual income, which if you know anything about that, that's the only type of income you should be striving for. So on that note, I talk about the cash flow quadrant. Time in exchange for money is on the left-hand side. This is a book written by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he said, listen, if you're one of these people who are strictly exchanging time for money, you're either an employee or you own a small business where you can't go for any extended period of time without working because there's no money coming in. It represents 95% of the people in this world, but only 5% of the wealth. And he said the real wealth lives on this other side. Right? That's what big businesses are, or people who are big into investments. That represents residual income that you can will along to your kids. That's income that you pass down from generation to generation. And that only represents 5% of the people, but it's 95% of the wealth. Network marketing allows you to leap from that left side of the quadrant to the right side. And it works something like this. We build two teams, okay? And this isn't a training session. I'm just trying to do this at a very high level. But we build two teams. We call it the power of two, right? So I invite Laura and Simone to my team. And they say, okay, we like these products. We're going to try it. And yeah, we want to tell some friends about it too. You got to start thinking about how Facebook grew, right? It grew in multiples of 2, 4, 6, 8, 32, 108, kept growing over time. Look what happens as people continue to share the product. My team starts to grow. I'm making about 6% off of all the products that are being consumed in that group, and it grows over time. Can you see how it's a benefit to have lots of people on your team and you're making a small percentage of what they do? I call it like my bricks versus clicks analogy. I'd rather have 1% of the efforts of 100 people than 100% of my own efforts. In a traditional sales job, this woman's rowing by herself. She breaks that oar, her boat is dead in the water. She's not going to make any money, right? She's exchanging time for money. But what happens if she's over on the right-hand side, right? What if she's on this team over on the right and that oar breaks? Well, her friends are going to carry her down the river, right? I use gyms a lot in this example, or coaches. Let's say you're a gym owner and you're on the left-hand side there and you're selling supplements inside your gym and you have 300 members. Well, you're limited. How much money you make is limited to how much product those 300 people buy. But what happens if there was 9 gym owners over there in that boat to the right? Instead of her making 15% off of what she would have made out of her own gym, she's making 6% out of what's going on in all these gyms. And there's only 9 people in that boat, but over time it becomes 900 people in that boat or 9,000 people in that boat, and you're still making 6%. That's leveraged income. And that's the power of shopping online. That's the power of having a $1 billion company behind you. So, it's almost like one of those things, you got to believe it before you see it. But this is how network marketing grows the right way. Okay. So I like to say, well, he likes to say, because he's the man, Warren Buffett, right? If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. And that's the definition of residual income. Okay. So again, at a very high level, here's how it would work. Let's say I said to Laura, hey, Laura, which I did, you should take a look at Isagenix. And she said, okay. And she looked at the products and she looked at the business opportunity. She said, I could get behind this. And what did Laura do? Laura went out and found a couple of people, invited them to a call just like this. We told this story. 2 people said, I'm in. And we said, listen, we do this call every Tuesday. Can you guys each find 2 people to bring here next week? And I said, yeah, we'll bring 2 people. And this is how it grows, okay? So after 4 weeks, let's just assume that up there represented 3 weeks, right? I asked Laura in, then the next week she invited 2 of her friends. And the next week after that, they invited 2 of their friends. This is going to go on, and watch how this starts to duplicate and multiply. This is the leverage. This is the exponential growth. After 4 weeks, it's just 15 people on the team. After 8 weeks, there's 255 people on the team. And the way our compensation plan works, again, I'm kind of like making this easy for you guys, but it would be around $1,500 a month in commissions. But look at the 12 weeks, how it grew from 255 people on the team to 4,000. This is the type of accelerated growth that you can have in network marketing if you build the right way, okay? We call it you share, they share, repeat. Do it all over again. Keep inviting to these calls. So listen, these numbers are real. They're not normal that someone like Jess Johnson makes over $1 million a year after she owned 3 gyms. But it's absolutely possible, and it's possible if you stick to a system like this. This is an unbelievable team that we have. We tell a great message. We have a lot of success stories. We have more leaders and millionaires on this team than any other team. So Jess said in her quote, after witnessing considerable transformation of the gym, because remember, she had to be bought into the products first, right? She began to say to herself, how can I add this income stream to my business? She figured it out. She started going to karate studios and yoga studios and people in her network that were interested in building a business. And now Jess has probably, I think I'm right on this, I think Jess has about 80 or 90,000 people on her team, and she earns over $1 million a year residually. And she started with this company in 2012. What does that tell you, right? Success leaves clues. So this is who we're looking for. And I encourage you, if you like what you heard tonight, that you invite people to either tomorrow night's product call or to next week's business call on Tuesday night. We build as a team. I'm your teammate right here. Laura's your team right here. We're here to help you build your team by doing calls like this. We're going to be, we're open in 14 markets today. We're going to be open in 26 markets this month of July, which is amazing. All of Europe and Japan is wide open now. We create residual and leveraged income. It's willable to your families. So as I build my business up, I'm going to hand this down to my kids. The startup cost is whatever products you decide to buy. That's it. Very low. Training and support, you're looking at it. You don't carry any inventory. If you're a gym owner listening to this call, you don't need to carry any inventory. I'd carry a small amount, but you don't need to. The risk is 0. Matter of fact, there's a 100% money back guarantee. If you jumped in today, bought some products, and for whatever reason, you didn't like the taste, you didn't like the model, you didn't like whatever, you can return it, 100% money back guaranteed within 30 days, and then our system duplicates. What team you're on in network marketing matters. This is a good team. Like I said, there's 11, almost 12, I think there's 12 millionaires now on our team, people that have earned cumulatively over $1 million. That's, again, success leaves clues. So what do? Simply open up your account, contact the person that asked you to jump on this call. That would be called your sponsor. Open your account, select some products that meet your needs, and then make your list. Like, who do you know? Get started. Don't wait. Invite people onto this call. You jumped on here because you're looking for a financial opportunity. You found it. The products are going to be great. I promise you'll love them, right? You'll find something that you like. So invite some people onto this call next week. That's the deal. And then duplicate it. Every week, bring new people onto this call and watch what happens. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen right now and just thank Laura for joining us. Looks like we ended up with about 52 people on this call for a vacation week. I think that's awesome. We have a recording of it, so we're going to be able to get it out to some people. But guys, this is how we roll. It's not that hard. If you can't find 5 minutes a day to invite someone onto a call like this, then you don't want it. But if you're looking for an opportunity, you've found it. We're pretty good at what we do. and we'll help you build your team, and the company will take care of the rest in terms of providing quality products along the way. So I thank you all for joining us. Laura, you're amazing as always.
Thank you.
And hey, invite some people tomorrow night. We're going to do a product call tomorrow night. We're going to dive a lot more into the performance side of this. So if you have some athletes or coaches or chiropractors or gym owners that you think might be interested in taking a look at the product, we'll cover that in depth. And then maybe they come back the next week and listen to the business opportunity. So that's all from here. We're signing out from Boston. Thanks for joining, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you. So tomorrow, 8:30, same link, okay? And it's going to be with Joe, so you're going to be there. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Laura.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.